Everyone, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into a true masterclass of function over form. We're going to unpack exactly how Spain decisively, and I mean decisively, dismantled a star-studded French team to lock down their spot in the 2026 World Cup final. By breaking down the tactical choices, those make-or-break key moments, and the underlying data from the match report, you'll see exactly how Luis de la Fuente's squad just completely smothered their opponents and dictated the terms of this unbelievable semifinal clash in Dallas.
You know, right from the opening whistle, Spain absolutely shattered the pre-match narrative. Going into this, there was this lingering, kind of stubborn assumption that France's sheer individual brilliance was just going to overwhelm the Spanish setup. But there's a powerful observation from the match report that hits the nail on the head. It says, "Let this be a lesson for everyone foolish enough to cast Spain as underdogs." Wow, Spain really enjoyed dishing it out here, didn't they? They literally reduced France to passengers. What we actually witnessed was a Spanish team pulsing with so much assuredness and belief, making absolutely sure nobody makes the mistake of underestimating them ever again.
And it really boiled down to a pure philosophical clash. On one hand, you had Spain operating as this superbly oiled machine. On the other, France was reduced to these faulty, spluttering components. This wasn't just your standard soccer game, guys. It was a total triumph of a cohesive collective, just completely swamping brilliant but totally disconnected individuals. Remember how France's front four ran totally amok earlier in the tournament? Well, against Spain, all that individual flair was completely neutralized. Now, it's not that Spain lacked magic. Lamine Yamal and Dani Olmo were fizzing with invention all night long, but their attacking work was always firmly anchored in a unified, functional system.
Seriously, the contrast in application out there was just staggering. Spain brought this mix of care with absolute precision. And France? They operated with this bewildering lack of intensity. It was wild to watch. Spain calculated their control so beautifully. They were perfectly happy letting long stretches of the game just pass by with little happening, effortlessly popping the ball between their constantly available midfielders. And what was France doing during this tactical masterclass? Mostly just watching. The pressure on those swarming white jerseys was virtually non-existent. And because of that, Spain could just completely dictate the tempo of the entire semifinal.
Now, this kind of dominance doesn't just happen all at once, right? It builds. Let's trace how this all unraveled for France, starting in the 22nd minute. Lucas Digne was caught horribly out of position, totally oblivious to an onrushing Lamine Yamal. Yamal smartly nudges the ball past him, gets sent flying, and after a quick VAR check on his arm positioning, the penalty stands. Mikel Oyarzabal steps up, comfortably dispatches it. Boom. Fast forward to halftime, and France is already making desperate changes. They pull Adrien Rabiot, who'd picked up an early yellow for a sloppy foul on Dani Olmo, and basically became a walking liability. And then, the final nail in the coffin drops in the 58th minute with an absolute stunner from Pedro Porro.
To really grasp the weight of that second decisive blow by Spain, we have to talk about Pedro Porro. He is the quintessential jugador de calle, a street player. The match report points this out beautifully. A jugador de calle brings this raw, aggressive competitive spirit. It's that gritty willingness to do absolutely anything for the team. That unrelentless energy, that was exactly what France was missing and exactly what Spain weaponized to devastating effect.
So, let's look at how that relentless spirit actually materialized into a beautifully worked goal that laid France's lethargy completely bare. Picture this. A tumbling Dani Olmo manages to brilliantly return a pass right into Porro's path. Instantly, this massive chasm opens up on France's left side. Because the French side is applying zero real pressure, Porro just surges right into that empty space. He fires the ball past Mike Maignan, giving the keeper absolutely no chance. It was just a masterclass in exploiting a team that had completely lost its structural integrity.
Now, you might be wondering, if Spain dominated so thoroughly, they must have hogged the ball all night, right? Well, actually, listen to this. France edged out possession 51% to 49%, and the fouls were nearly identical, 11 to 12. This tells us something absolutely crucial. Spain didn't need 70% possession to run the show. Instead, they managed the pace. They deliberately denied France any oxygen in transition. If they ever got caught out, they quickly broke up the play by fair means or foul, showing just incredible tactical discipline. Sure, France had the ball, but they couldn't do anything meaningful with it.
So, what went wrong on the other side of the pitch? Well, Didier Deschamps got the big tactical calls entirely wrong, and his system failed on multiple levels. First, he recalled a fit-again Aurelien Tchouameni, but that midfield barely strung two passes together. Then he preferred Bradley Barcola on the left, but Barcola really lacked basic composure whenever he actually made ground.
Toss in Rabiot lumbering around as a walking yellow card, and that early injury to William Saliba right after the penalty, France's entire structure just collapsed like a house of cards. Because of this fractured midfield, star playmakers like Michael Olise were totally isolated, forced into super uncomfortable areas, and essentially rendered irrelevant.
4 years. That is the massive, heavy weight now facing Kylian Mbappe. Over the past month, his eagerness to wash away that 2022 near miss was just so obvious. But because of this systemic failure across the pitch, he's got to stew in this defeat for a whole other World Cup cycle. At the end of the match, after he shot harmlessly over the bar in added time, his forlorn expression as he glanced at the stadium clock really said it all. He knew the game was up. He knew his team had been thoroughly, comprehensively outplayed.
So, as Luis de la Fuente's squad rides this incredible momentum into Sunday's final, they absolutely stand as the heavy favorites. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. Whether they face a rerun against England or a time-bending showdown with Lionel Messi, one massive question hangs over the rest of this tournament. Does anyone out there actually have the tactical discipline, the diligence, and the daring to break down this truly unstoppable Spanish machine?